Warning, F-bombs are armed and may be dropped. I'm really excited to be making this video because I've had to wait 2 weeks to do it. Right. The NATO standard 5.56 round is kind of on its way out. It's just not powerful enough anymore. Problem? Body armor has gotten to be too good. Now, we might get another 25, 50 years out of it, but its days are definitely numbered. What comes next? Alright, well, this is going to be a two-parter video because I'm going to address long arms and small arms as two separate subjects. First thing is the frame. Now, believe it or not, the AR-10 derived frames, the AR-15, the M16, and a few others, might still be in service. Probably not, as I'll address in a little bit, but it's because the M16 only has 3 standard settings: safe, semi, burst, and this next generation frame will need to have 4 settings, automatic as well. I'll address later how these fit into the equation. Chances are that if these do stay in service, they'll require quite a bit of modification, and those will just be temporary for a year or so. Amongst the other changes that will be seen is a utility stock. Now, what the hell is a utility stock? What it would do is allow a cleaning kit to be carried with the weapon at all times, and possibly a spare mag holder. Is that written in stone? Obviously not, but I think that's a real possibility. I think we're done with that part. Moving on to the upper receiver. Outwardly, it would be indistinguishable to a novice from the current M16 in service. M16s, like the AR-15 and the AR-10, has an automatic dust cover. When the bolt comes out, it comes back. The first time, the dust cover will open, and it'll stay open until you close it. Problem is that with the M16, AR-10, AR-15, all of those derivatives, this is usually just on the right side. They're not ambidextrous. That's the first thing you're going to see change. The dust cover will be fully ambidextrous on all variants, and I'll get to that in a minute. It'll be very simple. A fixed dust cover for one side and an opening cover for the other side, and you could just swap them out as needed. You might have to do it at a base camp, but you could do it as needed. Shell deflector and bolt assist will probably stay, although the bolt assist is being debated. Standard Army M16 length is 20 inches. I think they're going to go down to a 16 inch. Now I'm about to do something that I tell everybody else don't do. That's just an intuitive feeling. 20 inch really doesn't feel like it sounds, well, it doesn't sound right. I think they're going to take those last 4 inches off. They may not, though. Now, of course, this is for the standard rifle. This is my upper receiver, so you'll notice that there's a rear sight that looks like it's permanent. It's a UTE-2, Universal Tactical Entry sight. I think they're either going to go with this or they're going to go with a permanently mounted frame for flip-up sights. Rear and front sights. And then you can flip up your sights as you lose your optics. But optics are not going to go away. It would take so much for optics to go away at this point that I just don't see it happening. Even in a post-apocalyptic landscape, there's just too much of it out there. That's the standard infantry rifleman. Now, you notice a few minutes ago I said that it would be 4 stages. The standard infantry rifle, a blocking mechanism of some sort on the bottom that prevents the weapon from being taken to automatic or prevents it from being taken to automatic easily. Some sort of maybe a cam that allows it to continue forward, moves that block out of the way. For the machine gun variant, it would actually be exactly the opposite. Yeah, there's a machine gun variant coming too. That same cam would prevent the weapon from being, the machine gun variant, from being taken to semi or burst, or at least not easily. You'd have to go through that extra step, although if you go through the extra step with the machine gun variant, probably be able to go straight to burst fire once you get it to semi. Why would you do that? Running low on ammo. Why would you put it to automatic on the infantry version? Good question. We don't do that for a reason. It has come up though. Bayonet lug. Bayonet lug will appear on both versions because it allows an attachment. For the infantry version, the main attachments will be a bullpup configuration 12-gauge semi-automatic shotgun or a detachable bullpup configuration submachine gun, both fed by box magazines. Now, before you start screeching autistically, the shotgun variant is conceptually out there. It's the Crytek 612. The only difference is the 612 is fed by a cylinder mag. I'm talking about a box mag. Why would you do that? Well, first of all, because shotgun speaks immediately and with authority, but second of all, and this has been touched on before, 12-gauge shotgun can also be an explosive round. So you basically have a micro grenade launcher. Not terribly accurate, but then again, grenades generally aren't that accurate to begin with. And it might still be more accurate than the M203. For the machine gun variant, the bayonet lug may or may not be included to allow it to have that option. But it definitely won't be used for a bayonet because you don't put a bayonet on a machine gun. Alright, so I've gone on and on about the rifle variant. How about the machine gun variant? Basically the same as the infantry variant. Fully reversible. The difference is the sights. There won't be a front sight at all. And the rear sight will be just a simple hooded area that you can look through and know if you're kind of pointing it the right general direction. Machine guns are not that accurate. There's only one that's ever been described as having been accurate by infantry standards. That was the Bren light machine gun, as they called it back then. It was, quote, too accurate. Now, this too accurate myth has been addressed. The way to make a machine gun inaccurate, just move it around a little bit. It's not that hard. This next generation infantry machine gun won't need to be any more accurate. You just need to know what you're looking at and not actually aim at him. Just kind of shoot in the whole area. Interestingly enough, they will also both be the same caliber, so that you can swap in an emergency. Your machine gunner can take your box mags and get back into a fight. What that caliber is going to be, I don't know. And I'm not even going to speculate. It's going to be more than the 5.56, and it could be all the way up to that 50 cal. Probably going to be less than the 7.62 though. Alright, on the subject of reversible, one of the problems with a reversible design is that the bolt extractor is designed to eject the spent shell casing one direction. Simple way of solving that is to simply design it so you can take the bolt out, flip it over, flip your dust covers around, and there you go. You now have a left-handed gun. That was actually done on the Stoner machine gun. All right. What else? No fixer. Oh, the barrel on that next generation infantry rifle. And I'm about to do something I tell everybody don't do. My gut tells me that it's going to be 16-inch and not the standard 20-inch that we have now. Normally I say don't do that. Well, right now I'm going to say do as I say and not as I do. I'm going with my gut and saying that the shorter barrel will be better. The machine gun variant will have a much longer barrel, probably about 24, maybe even 30 inches. And it'll have a slightly different bipod system. The legs will be fixed initially so that when you have a situation come up and you need to get into action now, you at least have some kind of bipod, but also be extendable either by a spring-loaded system or more likely a flip system. So if the fight goes on long enough, you can get that extra bipod leg in. And we're just going to pretend that this is a machine gun variant for the moment. Some way of actually cooling the barrel using water as an auxiliary measure and not as a primary. This will allow you to keep that barrel in the fight a little bit longer. You don't have to switch them out. You don't have to mess with all of that, especially in the middle of a raging firefight. Okay, the special operator variant. Very short barrel. We're looking at about maybe 12 inches, 14, somewhere in that range. But also, and this has only been done once that I know of. Well, actually, it's never been done that I know of, but the closest I can think of is the Lyle gun. Not the Lyle gun, it's a World War II and a era silenced version of the SMLE. An integrated silencer system. Now, the Wellrod did this as well, but in long arms it's never been done, and it's never been done in this, in a rifle round. A sleeve that will be able to move over the barrel. Some kind of selector, probably on the top, that will allow you to move that sleeve out of the way, allowing the barrel to vent gases into the suppressor, reducing the audible noise to very little. That's not the only thing on a suppressed gun that makes noise, though. So a selectable gas cutoff system, probably a cam, that will cut off the flow of gas, turning your self-loading rifle now into a bolt-action rifle. That's not as efficient, it's not as cool, but it will work. And if you're doing some sort of clandestine mission, you really do need to keep it quiet. To return it to normal operation, just open the cam, close the vent ports, and now you have basically a regular infantry M16X, or whatever you want to call it. The civilian version will have any of these other options, plus probably won't have that selector block. So if you have a class 3, you could have that integrated suppressor, that gas cutoff, in a belt-fed 12-inch UTE variant, and you could switch between safe, semi, automatic, and burst. The only thing on this list that's actually restricted is the suppressor, silencer, whatever you want to call it, and the automatic and burst function. If you have a class 3, you're good to go. Now, this is not an actual rifle. This is a blue gun. This is not an actual rifle. This is a toy. But bear with me for a moment. Underslung weapon. Two I'm thinking will probably be in the works. First is the shotgun that I've already described, and the second will be a submachine gun. Submachine gun may also have that integrated suppressor system, but they'll both be a bullpup configuration. So far, it's exactly the same thing, just different caliber, right? Not exactly. In the event that your mission has gone wrong somehow, or that your rifle has gone wrong somehow, quick detach will allow you to take your submachine gun off, and an extendable stock will allow you to turn your submachine subposed gun into a submachine gun that you can get back into the fight with. And working off this toy, it's very uncomfortable, but it would work and would get you back into the fight at least long enough to disengage. If you're going to your submachine gun or your shotgun only, you're in a bad situation and you need to start worrying about getting out of it and not finishing the mission. Okay, the next video in this series will be the future of the service pistol and my predictions thereof. A related subject. I've already said I'm not going to speculate too much on the caliber. I am going to say that it's going to be something that can be fired reliably and carried in sufficient quantity to be effective. Magazines. Standard 20, maybe even the 30. Other than that, I mean, it's same mag, and it probably will still be Stanag 4179 draft prop, which is unfortunate. I really get sick of saying draft pop. Keep calm and manage to carry on.